It's time for our official Daggerheart review.
I hear you're preparing for a game of Daggerheart.
Welcome to Above the Table. We've got our hands on the official Daggerheart rules, and we have lots of thoughts about it. So, will this game be the next rival to D&D, or is it the next Candela Obscura? Before we dive into the game more, be sure to hit those like and subscribe buttons so we can keep making videos just like this one. So, here are our thoughts about Daggerheart. The game tries to simultaneously offer a robust set of combat tools driven by high fantasy, while also encouraging a collaborative storytelling environment between the player and game master. Although it's too chunky of a game system to really appeal to narrative game enthusiasts, it does offer a unique enough system to stand out more than just another game trying to out D&D Dungeons & Dragons. The real question here is whether the Critical Role effect will be enough to propel Daggerheart into a rarefied space amongst RPGs, or if it will get lost in the shuffle similar to Darrington Press's previous RPG, Candela Obscura. Daggerheart is a high fantasy RPG influenced by the likes of D&D 4th Edition, Fantasy Flight Games' Genesis system, Blades in the Dark, and the Cypher system. It wears most of these influences proudly on its sleeves, calling out the various RPGs that influenced its mechanics in its opening pages. For veteran RPG players, a read-through of Daggerheart will feel a bit like that one Leonardo DiCaprio meme, as many of the secondary systems in particular feel a bit like elements grafted from other game systems. Now, this may seem like a criticism, but it's really not. Many DMs have already used pieces of various game systems to enhance their own games for decades, so seeing a world-building system influenced by the Quiet Year or DM interruptions guided by the Cypher system isn't as much derivative as it's simply doing something that many of us have already been doing for decades. What I can say is that Spencer Stark, the lead developer of Daggerheart, clearly has good taste in RPGs, and he's distilled a lot of great parts of other RPGs and mixed them together for a game that will still feel fresh to a lot of the game's intended audience. At the heart of the Daggerheart system is the Duality Dice, a pair of differently colored D12s. When making checks, players roll both D12s and add any relevant modifiers, which can be represented as tokens that are included in the dice roll. The two dice results are added together to determine success or failure, with additional narrative effects determined by which of the two dice, known as the hope die or the fear dice, have the higher result. A roll with hope results in a narrative benefit of some kind, even when the result is a failure. A roll with fear results in a narrative setback of some kind, even when the roll is successful. Hope and fear also act as two of several kinds of resources players are expected to manage throughout the game. The Hope resource fuels several player abilities, including a new Hope feature for each class that wasn't present during playtesting. Players are also expected to track stress, HP, armor, which is both a type of equipment and a type of resource, gold, and general equipment. The GM, meanwhile, uses fear, which can only be generated by the players through their role, as a way to take extra moves or activate certain features. The result is a lot of resource management over the course of the game, in addition to whatever kind of storytelling, tracking, or mystery solving a GM may want to throw at their party. Character creation, coincidentally, is a lot more in line with the newest edition of D&D 5th Edition, with background, ancestry, class, subclass, and domain all coming together to create a character. All of the aforementioned character options have at least one feature that feeds into the character sheet. Now, Daggerheart solves this immense modularity through the use of cards, which come with the game's core rulebook in a nifty box and lists all the various kinds of features you'll need to create a character. Now, these cards eventually play into the game design itself, with players having a limited hand of domain abilities. Those are like your main abilities that players have, and you gain more as you level up, that they can swap out as they reach higher level. These cards aren't technically necessary, as everything from the cards can also be found in the core rulebook in various spots, but the cards are a lot more handy than writing down all that information, and frankly, the way domains work mean that the cards are a lot more of a necessity than a bonus. Now, what's really going to be interesting here is how Daggerheart handles the eventual expansion of the game. By the way, 2 new classes are in playtesting already. Will new domain abilities and ancestries get their own cards, or will they be included with the purchase of a physical book, or will they be left as a separate purchase? The cards are a critical part of Daggerheart's character sheet, and I can't really imagine this game working without them. Now, when playtesting the game last year, my player's favorite part of the game was the way that Daggerheart encouraged players to take an active part in world building. This starts from session 0 when players are encouraged to name landmarks on a map, and there are several pre-generated maps and location name suggestions that are included in the book and are also available to download. And this continues through various story and idea prompts embedded into the adventures and the rulebook itself. The game encourages players to improvise upon the world, answering their own questions about what an NPC may look like, or how residents of a certain town behaves. This in turn is supposed to feed story ideas for the DM to riff off of, building a more off-the-cuff story that is built more on vibes than meticulous planning. Now, at its heart, Daggerheart plays on two diametrically different games concepts. Its combat engine is a resource management system where players are encouraged to build broken character builds to live out overpowered fantasy fulfillment. However, the narrative system is built around a more free-form collaboration between players and GM, where the story grows without impediment from those pesky rules. Much like its core dice mechanic, the duality of Daggerheart works well together, although I think this game will ultimately appeal to D&D players looking for something a little bit different, rather than those who enjoy lighter RPG fare. So that's our thoughts on Daggerheart. Let us know your thoughts in the comment section, and don't forget to hit those like and subscribe buttons.